Humanity constantly searches for answers to questions that have plagued them for ages. This extraordinary need drives people to discover new mysteries, explore the limits of possibility, and seek answers to life's most important questions. The protagonist of the book, Alien Seeker, is one such person, whose fascination with extraterrestrial beings and paranormal phenomena leads him on a dangerous journey through space. The main character is a unique individual whose mind is constantly searching for answers to life's biggest questions. His technical skills are unquestionable, but it is his passion for cosmic mysteries that drives him to spend hours searching for answers about extraterrestrial life and time travel. His fascination with paranormal phenomena is both a source of excitement and danger for him. When he hears strange sounds on one of his devices one day, he takes steps that could change his life forever. He decides to fulfill his dream and find answers to his questions. However, the truth he discovers turns out to be more complicated and dangerous than he expected. Alien Seeker is a story of a dangerous journey through space that prompts reflection on the nature of life and existence. It is also the story of a man who must confront his own fears and doubts in order to achieve his goal. Will he find the answers to his questions? Will his fascination with extraterrestrial beings prove to be his curse? This suspenseful story is sure to attract fans of science fiction and cosmic mysteries. Readers will be transported to unknown worlds and confronted with mysterious beings whose existence always seemed impossible. Alien Seeker is an exceptional book that allows the reader to enter unknown worlds where the boundaries of reality are constantly being crossed. It is not only a story about discovering the mysteries of the cosmos, but also about seeking answers to life's most important questions. As a child, Paul was always fascinated by the unknown and the unexplained. He spent his days reading books about paranormal phenomena, ancient civilizations, and the possibility of extraterrestrial life. While most kids his age were content playing video games and watching TV, Paul was consumed by his passion for the unknown. Paul's obsession with aliens consumed him to the point where he spent every waking moment indulging in his interests. He had transformed his basement into a laboratory, filled with advanced equipment and technology, all aimed at detecting extraterrestrial life. Paul spent hours every day analyzing data, scouring the internet for any information that might lead him closer to his goal. He would often work through the night, fueled by coffee and a desire to uncover the truth about the universe. Despite his isolation from the outside world, Paul's laboratory was a hive of activity. He had built an extensive network of contacts, including fellow UFO enthusiasts and scientists, who would send him tips, leads, and data from their own research. Paul would spend hours poring over this information, looking for patterns and connections that might help him in his quest. He was convinced that the government was hiding the truth about extraterrestrial life, and he was determined to uncover it. In addition to his research, Paul spent his days building and testing new equipment, always looking for ways to improve his chances of making contact with aliens. He had built a powerful radio telescope, capable of detecting signals from the far reaches of space, and was constantly tweaking its settings to maximize its sensitivity. Despite the seemingly endless work, Paul was driven by his obsession and his conviction that he was on the brink of a breakthrough. He had no doubt that he would one day make contact with an alien civilization, and he was prepared to do whatever it took to make that dream a reality. One day, however, everything changed. Paul was working in the control room when he heard a strange signal coming through on the speakers. It was unlike anything they had ever heard before, a series of complex, high-frequency tones that seemed to be transmitting a message. Paul's heart raced as he began the process of decoding the signal. He knew that this could be the moment he had been waiting for, the breakthrough that could change everything. After hours of intense work, Paul finally managed to decipher the message. It contained a set of coordinates indicating a location deep in space, where a rendezvous was scheduled to take place. Paul was convinced that the message was from an advanced alien race and that they were attempting to make contact with humanity. He knew that this was the opportunity of a lifetime, a chance to fulfill his dream of meeting extraterrestrial beings. But as Paul delved deeper into the project, he began to realize that there were powerful forces at work, forces that would stop at nothing to keep the truth about the message from getting out. He knew that the path ahead would be fraught with danger and uncertainty, but he was determined to see it through. The fate of humanity might just depend on it. Paul stared at the coordinates on the screen, his heart racing with anticipation. He had decoded the message and confirmed his suspicion that it was a message from an advanced alien race. The urge to make contact with extraterrestrial beings had consumed him for years, and now he had a chance to fulfill his dream. Without hesitation, Paul made the decision to embark on a perilous journey through space. He knew the risks involved and the dangers that lay ahead, but nothing could deter him from this mission. He had spent his life preparing for this moment, studying every aspect of space travel and developing advanced technologies that would make the journey possible. Paul's determination was unbreakable as he began the preparations for his journey. He spent countless hours ensuring that everything was in order and no detail was overlooked. He knew that the journey would be long and arduous, but he was prepared for every challenge that lay ahead. Finally, the day arrived and Paul boarded his spacecraft, ready to embark on his journey into the unknown. As the spacecraft soared into the vastness of space, Paul felt a sense of exhilaration and fear. The dangers of space were ever present, and he knew that the slightest mistake could prove fatal. But Paul's obsession with making contact with extraterrestrial beings drove him forward. He was determined to make contact and discover the secrets of the universe. The journey had begun, and there was no turning back. As Paul hurtled through the emptiness of space, he was acutely aware of the dangers that lay ahead. He had prepared as best as he could for the journey, but the vast unknown always held surprises. Difficulties appeared at the very beginning of the journey. During takeoff, there was a malfunction in the propulsion system that could have ended tragically. However, Paul managed to fix the problem at the last moment and begin the journey of a lifetime. It wasn't long before he encountered his first danger. A small asteroid collided with his ship, causing the hull to groan and sending him tumbling through the cabin. He managed to steady himself and assess the damage. The ship's systems had sustained minor damage, but it was nothing he couldn't handle. But that was just the beginning. As he flew deeper into space, he encountered creatures he had never imagined before. There were towering beasts with tentacles that could crush steel, and swarms of tiny glowing creatures that clung to the hull of his ship, threatening to short-circuit the electronics. One particularly harrowing encounter involved a group of creatures that seemed to be able to phase in and out of reality at will. They flickered in and out of existence, making it difficult for Paul to get a clear shot at them. They seemed to be studying him, and he wondered if they were intelligent beings like the ones he was seeking. He faces intense gravitational forces that threaten to crush his ship, and the sudden appearance of space debris that nearly tears it apart. His shields are put to the test when he comes across a storm of cosmic rays that threaten to fry his electronics. As his ship passed through the dark expanse of space, Paul felt his heart beating faster. He had the impression that danger was lurking for him somewhere in the unknown distances. After all, he didn't know what was out there, what awaited him, and what creatures would accompany him. Finally, He arrived at the first planet whose surface was full of surprises and threats. When Paul landed on the surface, he felt the earth shaking beneath his feet. Suddenly, he saw strange creatures emerging from holes in the ground that he had never seen before. They were dangerous and hostile. Paul had to act quickly to protect his life. Next, Paul encountered another danger on his journey. He came across black holes that swallowed everything in their range. Paul's ship was absorbed by one of these black holes, and he himself began to feel the cosmic emptiness that plagued his mind. Paul fought against dangers at every step, but it cost him a lot of strength and health. He was weakened and tired, and his mind was increasingly plagued by these incredible experiences. He began to have hallucinations and panic attacks whenever he thought about the next dangers that awaited him. Paul knew that his journey was full of dangers, but nothing could prepare him for what he encountered in space. There were creatures he had never seen before. Some of them were friendly and curious, but some were aggressive and dangerous. The challenge turned out to be encountering an alien species that he had never seen before. These creatures were very intelligent and could deceive Paul's senses. His ship was trapped in a force field, and he himself was abducted and subjected to a series of tests. With each subsequent attempt to escape, Paul felt his strength weaken. Long hours spent in a cage and constant stress related to escape attempts began to take a toll on his health. Paul was becoming increasingly exhausted, both physically and mentally. When he finally managed to escape from captivity, he felt weak and devoid of energy. Traveling through space was difficult, but nothing could prepare him for what he encountered on an alien planet. One of the most shocking moments of Paul's journey was encountering a powerful cosmic hurricane. In its destructive vortex, Paul's ship moved like a leaf in the wind. Paul was forced to use all of his skills to avoid disaster and maintain control of the ship. The next danger that Paul encountered was cosmic anomalies. These were areas in space where gravity, time, and space seemed to act in a completely unpredictable way. Paul had to fight their influence to maintain control of his ship. But the most dangerous encounters come from the alien life forms he encounters. Some are peaceful and curious, but others are aggressive and territorial. He narrowly escapes a swarm of space-borne parasites that latch onto his ship and threaten to consume it, and is forced to engage in a harrowing dogfight with a pack of hostile drones. The biggest challenge that Paul faced was confronting his own fears and anxieties. With no possibility of returning home, his mental and physical health was on the brink of collapse. He often wondered if he was ready for what lay ahead and if he would have the strength to overcome the obstacles. The dangers of space were relentless, but Paul knew he had to press on. The prospect of making contact with an advanced alien race kept him going, even when everything seemed against him. He would not be deterred, not after coming so far. As Paul's spacecraft approached the designated coordinates, his heart raced with excitement and anticipation. He had spent years dreaming of making contact with extraterrestrial beings, and now it seemed that his dream was about to become a reality. As he got closer, his instruments began to pick up strange readings that he could not explain. Suddenly, a bright light engulfed his ship, and he felt himself being pulled towards a massive spacecraft that was hovering in the distance. As he neared the ship, he could see strange symbols and markings etched into the surface, and he realized that he was about to make contact with an advanced alien race. As his ship docked with the massive craft, Paul felt a rush of fear and excitement. He knew that he was about to encounter beings that were vastly more intelligent and advanced than he was. As he stepped out of his spacecraft, he was greeted by a group of strange humanoid creatures that were unlike anything he had ever seen before. The aliens communicated with Paul through a strange form of telepathy, and he could sense their curiosity and interest in him. They seemed to be studying him as if he was a specimen under a microscope. Despite his fear and apprehension, Paul could not help but feel a sense of awe and wonder at the incredible technology and intelligence that the aliens possessed. As the encounter continued, Paul realized that he had stumbled upon something far beyond his wildest dreams. He knew that this was just the beginning of an incredible journey, one that would change his life forever. As Paul continued to observe the alien race, he was astonished by the advanced technologies and knowledge they possessed. Their spacecraft was unlike anything he had ever seen, with a sleek design and a strange energy field that allowed it to move effortlessly through space. The beings themselves were tall and slender, with elongated limbs and large black eyes that seemed to absorb all light around them. The extraterrestrial beings' technology was equally impressive. Paul saw them manipulating energy fields with their hands, seemingly controlling the environment around them. He was particularly fascinated by the way they were able to create objects seemingly out of thin air, using a combination of energy fields and molecular manipulation. As Paul continued to observe, he realized that these beings were light years ahead of humanity in terms of technology and knowledge. He felt a mix of awe and apprehension, wondering what kind of implications this could have for humanity if this knowledge were to fall into the wrong hands. But for now, he was content to simply observe and learn from these advanced beings. Paul's obsession with the unknown and his journey to the far reaches of space had taken a toll on him. As he returned to Earth, he found that the world had moved on without him. His colleagues, friends, and family had all gone on with their lives while he was gone. He was haunted by the thought that the message was not meant for him, that he was just a pawn in a cosmic game he didn't understand. He tried to communicate with the extraterrestrial beings again, but they never responded. Paul's reputation as a scientist was damaged, and he struggled to find work. His former colleagues dismissed him as a crackpot, and his family was disappointed in him for risking his life for a delusion. His mental and physical health had deteriorated, and he was haunted by the experiences he had on his journey. The strange creatures he encountered and the unknown technologies he saw had left him feeling lost and alone. Despite the challenges he faced, Paul continued to pursue his passion for the unknown. He began writing a book about his journey and the extraterrestrial beings he encountered. His book was met with mixed reviews, with some dismissing it as fiction, while others found it intriguing. In the end, Paul realized that the pursuit of the unknown had come at a great cost. He had lost everything, including his reputation, his health, and his relationships. He learned the hard way that sometimes the pursuit of knowledge can have grave consequences, and the unknown should be approached with caution. Paul returned to Earth, but he was not the same person who had left it. The experience of traveling through space, encountering danger, and communicating with extraterrestrial beings had taken its toll on him. He was haunted by the memories of his journey and the knowledge he had gained. Despite his success in reaching the coordinates and making contact with the beings, Paul knew that his obsession had come at a great cost. He had risked his life and sacrificed his relationships in pursuit of the unknown. He now realized that there were limits to what he could understand, and that some things were best left alone. Paul tried to move on with his life, but the memories of his journey continued to haunt him. He struggled to connect with his family and friends, who could not comprehend the magnitude of what he had experienced. He also found it difficult to return to his work as a scientist, as his obsession had consumed him to the point of neglecting his duties. In the end, Paul found solace in sharing his story with others who had shared his obsession with the unknown. He became a speaker, sharing his experiences and lessons with others who were seeking answers. He hoped that by doing so, he could prevent others from making the same mistakes he had. Paul never forgot his journey, but he learned to accept it as a part of who he was. He had paid the ultimate price for his obsession, but he had also gained a new perspective on life and the universe. He hoped that one day, others would be able to learn from his mistakes and discover the unknown in a way that was safe and responsible. As Paul returned to Earth, he couldn't shake off the feeling that he had missed something important during his journey. Despite encountering extraterrestrial beings and witnessing their advanced technologies, there was a sense of unfinished business that lingered within him. The world was shocked by his revelations, and the scientific community was abuzz with theories and speculations about the existence of extraterrestrial life. But Paul was haunted by the questions that remained unanswered. What was the true purpose of the message that he had received? Was there something he had missed during his encounter with the extraterrestrial beings? He spent years researching and analyzing the data he had collected during his journey, but there were still many mysteries that remained unsolved. The scientific community had come to a consensus that his findings were significant, but they too were unable to provide concrete answers to the questions that had arisen. As Paul was getting older, he realized that the journey had taken a toll on him that he could never fully recover from. Despite these difficulties, Paul will never forget his encounter with the alien beings and their advanced technology. It was a moment that changed his life and opened his eyes to the infinite possibilities of exploring the universe. The mysteries that surrounded his journey continued to fascinate and intrigue people for generations to come. But for Paul, they were a constant reminder of the ultimate price he had paid for his obsession. His life had been consumed by the pursuit of the unknown, and he had missed out on the joys and pleasures of a normal life. Paul's journey had taken a toll on him, both mentally and physically. The scars of his obsession with the unknown would never fully heal, but his legacy would live on as his story inspired a new generation of scientists and explorers to push the boundaries of what was possible. As the years passed, the scientific community continued to search for answers, and new breakthroughs were made in the fields of space exploration and communication. But the mysteries of the universe were vast and complex, and there would always be more questions than answers. In the end, Paul's journey had taught us all a valuable lesson that the pursuit of knowledge and the unknown can come at a great cost. But the rewards of discovery are immeasurable, and the human spirit will always strive to uncover the secrets of the universe, no matter what challenges may lie ahead. And so, the story of Paul's journey into the unknown came to a close, but the journey of humanity's exploration and discovery had only just begun.